This is called Me Mam's Mind. If you fall off that wall and break both your legs, don't come running to me. Could never understand me mam's mind and how it worked. One moment she had half a mind to come up there and get me off that wall. Then she was in two minds about whether to tell me to stop. Go ahead, kill yourself, see if I care. I'm warning you, child, if you fall off that wall and kill yourself, I'll personally come up there and murder you myself, so I will. I used to watch the words climbing out of her mouth and fly around the room looking for a place to land in my mind. Never cared whether she gave out. I just loved everything she said, the music of her and how she made the words behave. I came down and kissed her worry away. I'm sorry, ma'am, I told her, and she cried. Stay by me, mother. This is called me mother's hands. My mother's hands, washing potatoes, washing kids, washing pans. My mother's hands on a bitterly cold day, pegging yet more washing on a pregnant line. The line grown nothing but nappies, her hands blind with the cold. My mother's hands ironing clothes, ironing countless knickers for my 7 sisters. My mother's hands taking my hands in hers, such love, such laughter. My mother's hands putting talcum powder on yet another baby's bum. Mum being mum. Me kissing my mother's hands for all they've done. This is called Jerry Sweeney's Mammy. When I was a little fella, I didn't know much about the facts of life. I didn't know nothing. We're kept very young in Ireland, and even into our teens, we're still very innocent, God love us. So I was under the illusion that a chap could have 3 mammies. This was not based on any biological facts, it was more emotional knowledge. And I thought that a mammy was anybody who loved you to that great nth degree. So I had 3 mammies. I had my own lovely mother Rita, as you can see from my poems. I had Lizzie Sweeney up the road, and I had my Aunt Mary down in Cork. And even by that definition, my dad was the best mammy I ever had as well. So my mother had to take me aside and said, you know I'm your mammy, don't you? And I said, yeah. And she said, you know Jerry Sweeney's mammy is his mammy. And I went, I didn't know where this was leading. I said, yeah. And she said, you know Mrs. Sweeney isn't your mammy. And I said, what? You're kidding me. So, you know, the facts of life came to me slowly like that. So this is called Jerry Sweeney's Mammy. Mrs. Sweeney was Jerry Sweeney's mammy. And even though I had my own, I had her in loan. It was like having a spare mammy. And even when she was mad at us, she just couldn't be mad at us. Go on, she gripped, go on. You break the heart of a stone. And even if you fell and you was crying, heart and knee badly grazed or badly bitten by a bee, she would hug you up with all herself. Ah, come here to me, you poor little dolt. Fill you up with so much love, it would last for years. For years. Jerry Sweeney was my best friend ever. Way back in the way back then. Still is, nothing's changed. Except that those young fellas have become old fellas, who still think they're young fellas. And every time I see him, I could almost cry. I can still see his mammy smiling out of his eyes. Thank you. This is called New Dog's Old Trick. Pardon, yeah. It was my daughter's 3rd year of being herself, and we had too many of her peers around to celebrate this fact. And I popped out to get some more jelly. And when I came back, they were going absolutely bananas. And I thought, how is it possible that little girls could make that much noise? And I thought I had to go in there and find out what's happening. So I approached the door, and as I approached the door and reached for the handle, the sound just cut like that. And now I was more afraid of the silence. And then the door opened, hit me in the face, 40 little girls stampeded over me, and they basically said this poem. It's called New Dog, Old Tricks. The dog's in the loo! We was teaching him to pee. And he just fell in. Do not attempt that at home, children. I don't know if you've ever seen a Yorkie when they're wet, but they become like little drowned rats. And trying to scrabble up a porcelain pole. Oh, that's not good. This is called Fairy Tale. Anybody of my generation is very familiar with the Children of Lure story. So evil stepmother turns the kids into swans. They're doomed to be swans for 300 years, 300 years, 300 years. And the version I know is the one where Fionnuala either stops being a swan or wasn't turned into a swan, and she has to knit nettle jumpers for them all the time, and it kills her, of course, and everything. It's like Cannes Christmas. And when the swans come down for the last time, she throws the jumpers on them, and they turn back into her brothers. But she hasn't knit quite so fast, so she's still got an arm to do. And she throws it off over the last brother, and he becomes a human being again, but with a swan's wing. So this is called Fairy Tale. I sit by your bedside, watching you dying. Only love nails me to this pain. I unable to escape your dying. I tell you Irish legends and Hans Christian Andersen, as you become again, if only for a little while, the child you used to be once upon a time, when wonder and delight were new as daylight. Tell me Lure, tell me the children of Lure. I tell of how they are turned into swans in the loneliness of eternity. I too knit nettles to break the spell, throw the garment over your cancered body so you can return again to being the human I have known. This dying is cruel beyond belief, an insult to your life. I love you so much I would kill you if I could kill you, but I can't. I want every breath of you not to be your last. You journey to your death, dancing with your pain. My little mermaid, my little ballerina. I guard your dying, a constant tin soldier, as you become foam, foam on the sea. Just a day ago, sucking a sultana, I held on the tip of my fingertip, telling me to call your name. I love living in your voice. So nice, so nice. And I, a blind prince, wandering now, lost in the fairy tale of your death. I close your eyes, kiss the last warmth of your lips. Thank you. This is called Uncle Michael, alias God. I used to love my Uncle Michael. He was like a treasure trove altogether. And he used to tell me all surreal, mad, made-up things. And of course, I was just a little fella, so I believed every word. My aunt used to always say, will you stop filling the child's head with nonsense? Can't you see he believes everything you say? And indeed I did. So this is called Uncle Michael, alias God. His hands tobacco-stained, twisted and gnarled, knotted like an alive piece of wood, scrawled gestures across my mind as the sick calf bucked in his arms and his quiet strength calmed. Shh, shh, suck, suck, he crooned, and the sound soothed. And the veins like vines ran up and down his arms, pumping crude life like a sudden sketch to suggest the gist of, rather than the meaning of things. And he walked, and I ran towards Granny's garden like God tending Eden, and the gate, the little horse sighed at his hand, and the leaves murmured like worshippers in a church congregation, and the sunlight genuflected through the trees, and the trees wore socks and apples. A tablecloth was laid on a loganberry bush, and the young tree gave herself to him, broke tenderly in his hand, and the knife whistled and whittled, and out of the branch came a man. And he told me, and I believed him, because he was good as God and strong, that the little wooden man, the silent statue, had been waiting all the time already made, waiting to be released from his prison of wood. All things, he whispered, all things are waiting for you to call them to come out, awake them, create them. The rhododendrons were blue with amazement that this revelation a dragonfly walked upon the water. A butterfly became infatuated with a flower. Me, I watched as his hands talked, explaining things that could not be said. And he took my hand in his, and I understood, flowed like a little stream into his big river, felt God close, near at hand, and smiling. Thank you. Yeah. My Auntie Nellie was a very lost woman. She didn't like us having fun or anything like that. And she used to be in competition with us kids, and she'd bring out her little 9-year-old handwriting and said, my teacher thought I was good too. And she lost all her life to the farm. So this is called Goodbye to the Circus. And whenever she gave out to us, we'd always sing on under our breath, Nellie the elephant. So, goodbye to the circus. Oh, Nellie the elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a clumpety clump, 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 clump. The head of the herd was calling far, far away. Auntie Nellie died of drink, loneliness, and whatever. Not necessarily in that order. On the farm that was our young days, summer holidays, cast her youth like so much pig slop to the squelching grunt of cow dung days, moo cow lowing years, until the dust collected and settled in the corners no one could reach. Time left her like a holy picture high above the mantelpiece. See the children take the coloured cards in their hands, go play fish in the pool, scream, snap, laugh at who is left to be old maid. Not me, not me. Time never took her hand like a lover's touch. Time only waited for her. In her loneliness she read and reread and lived on Aldous Huxley's island. She said, this said, everything. Years later, when she reads like a fictional character in someone's story, when time no more mattered, I travelled to her island and touched her loneliness, felt her longing. Auntie Nellie died of drink, loneliness, and whatever, not necessarily in that order. Said goodbye to the circus, calling far, far away. Thank you. This is called, Richard, you might be able to pronounce this better than me. How's your old English, by the way? This is called How het scale ik zingen, sing me Fromschaft, which is Cadman. The angel comes out of the Cadman, and Cadman doesn't know anything. He says, what'll I sing? And the angel tells him, sing me creation. So, I was watching a friend of mine falling in love with somebody who did not love her. And this is the sad story of that. And she sang to him, and she sang of him. She sang of the love she had created for them. She used birds for words in the rain that had fallen. She used flowers and tears and interwove them. She used sighs and hours and the loneliness within them. She used moonlight and pain and what remained when she was far from him. She sang of a love that had dreamed of being and hadn't yet awoken. She sang of herself and called to him, called to him. And she sang of him and she sang to him. She sang of the love that belonged to them. She sealed it with tears and the fears of her heart breaking. She sang him creation. And to finish with, how about I do for time? Just on the finish of the time? Let's go. This is called The Smell of Purple. My little girl came in to me one day and announced that she could smell purple. And I thought, cool, my God, what does that smell like? So of course I questioned her. I said, okay, kid, what does purple smell like? What does magenta smell like? And all of that. I don't know if you know, Sibelius had synesthesia as well. And they were putting in a new stove for him. And they said to Mr. Sibelius, and he saw colours as notes, of course. And they said to him, Mr. Sibelius, do you want your stove painted in grey or green? And he said, oh, A7 definitely. So this is my little girl. The Smell of Purple. I actually did a book called The Smell of Purple, and we launched it in New Delhi, of all places. She says she can smell yellow. She says she can smell blue, despite not being able to spell either colour. Yellow smells the same as blue, like a wet kitty drying by the fire. Red smells like Mammy when she kisses. Her kisses smell different when she kisses you. Then she smells like flames with little orange tips. Purple is my favourite smell. It smells just like a magic spell. I kiss her goodnight like violet, only lighter, with little flecks of purple scattered here and there. Thank you.